Hi everybody, Daniel J here with Cybervent, website for ventriloquists, and I am here with the famous Al Getler. And we're just here talking a little bit, and I'm going to ask Al a few questions, and we're going to find out a little bit about him and a little bit more about what got him involved in ventriloquism and stuff like that. So Al, it's nice to get together with you.
It's absolutely a pleasure to be here with you. This is like my dream to be interviewed by Daniel Robbins. This is it.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's a crazy dream. But
I don't dream big. No,
yeah, don't dream big. That's right. That's right. But the nice thing about it is we're actually in Akron, Ohio. So Al actually came all the way to Akron.
We are high above in the tallest building in this part of town, 3 stories.
That's right. That's right. So I'm excited to have him here in my home state, and not a lot of people don't know you actually lived in Ohio.
Yes, actually it was my home state for 10 years. We had a baby while we were here, our little late in life surprise, Jillian.
Okay.
She was born in Columbus, Ohio, and she's our little Buckeye.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
OHIO.
OHIO, little Buckeyes. Absolutely. Yeah.
So the first question I have for you, Al, is what got you interested in ventriloquism?
So I grew up in the New York City area. My family's from New York City, and I grew up in New Jersey, right over the bridge. So on New York television, there was just so much with puppetry and ventriloquism. So Chuck McCann, Paul Ashley puppets, but then Jerry Mahoney was just an amazing thing to me.
Oh yeah.
I would see Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney, and of course Knucklehead. But Jimmy Nelson was on New York television a lot.
Yeah.
Later on the Mike Douglas show, Sherry Lewis, being from New York, showed up a lot. And of course, the heyday of Ed Sullivan's show.
Right.
I was the younger of 5 kids at that point, so I watched a lot of TV that my family watched, and Senior Wences, of course, was on the Sullivan Show.
Sure.
So many times. Can I tell a little story real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So many times. Senior Wences, and I think people know this already, but he had an apartment right around the corner from the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Okay.
So anytime something went wrong with a guest, they'd call him up, and he'd grab his boxes and off he'd go, and Kate Smith has laryngitis, I'm on my way. The monkey act has diarrhea, on my way. Whatever the case may be. So he was on so many times, and it was just a classic. So when I first started as a kid, people always yell, "Sarai, Sarai." So anyway, I watched those guys. My mom and dad didn't buy me my first dummy. My brother did. My older brother, who probably to my 8 years old was probably 20, and he bought me one. There was a corner store. They sold the Juro figures back then.
Sure.
And he bought me a Danny O'Day, and I stood in front of the mirror all day long, Christmas Day, 1969, practicing with the pamphlet. And then he told me about the record album, and I bought the record album, the white Instant Ventriloquism.
Sure.
And then when the blue one came out, ooh, big deal, right? There's another one. And then the Bergen album, which they didn't surface as much in the New York area. Then I bought the Bergen album. So that was just like I was in my room constantly playing those 33 1/3. For those of you that are under 40, 33 1/3 are these black, but never mind. Anyway. So, yeah, that's how I got started.
Yeah.
And so then, I at school, right, like all of us, I've been a little case to school. My dad had sold Amway for a short time.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so my Danny O'Day was in an Amway suitcase, and I was at school and performed at all the stuff. And then, I bought I got a Danny 400, which was the headstick Danny.
Sure.
And then eventually sent that off to Clinton Detweiler, and he converted it, and I used that for years. His name was Paul Donnelly, and he was my main character.
Nice.
That's how I got started.
Yeah. That's awesome. And just like me, the instant ventriloquism is how I got started.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this about the instant ventriloquism. Did you ever use the other side?
I never used the other side. I didn't understand
how it worked.
Once in a while, on an off day, I'd put that on and listen to it, but I loved the live tracks of Jimmy performing live.
Yeah.
And I listened to those again and again and again. And, I kind of had lip movement down and mouth down. I mean, some of us, when we start really young, we're outliers. We do it pretty well. It was the second album with the acting and reacting, and the ad-libbing and the movement and all of that taught me so much. I mean, that opened up a whole new spectrum of what ventriloquism really, really means. And I'm a relentless advocate that this art is theater. It's
Yes.
two characters on stage.
Mhm.
It's building conflict or building character. I mean, you know, the best modern example I can give you of that is Jeff Dunham's Ahmed. Okay, Ahmed started off as this terrorist, right? You're gonna kill it. But Jeff is so good at exploring the character. Then there's this soft side of Ahmed. Well, I'm really kind of insecure.
Right.
And it's so wonderful what he did with that character.
Yeah.
That's theater. That's what this art's about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would agree with you.
Yeah. So just to continue quickly, like everybody else, I did blue and gold dinners, birthday parties, all that stuff, and then and performed as much as I could. I raised my family and performed birthday parties, family shows. Then I got into corporate stuff later on, and when I lived outside of Philadelphia in Atlantic City, I used to do fill-ins at a lot of reviews in Atlantic City and the casinos. Did a lot of corporate gigs, and so my career has been primarily, you know, corporate gigs as my number one kind of income. Casinos back in the day as number two, and then just lots of private events.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now, besides yourself, who's your favorite ventriloquist?
Besides myself.
Right.
Well, like any performer, I am down on myself. I'm never going to be good enough. So
Right.
I am not my own favorite ventriloquist. So I think going back to the list of names I just gave, I mean, I think, you know, and not in any particular order, I mean, Edgar Bergen just taught us what a fabulous character is in Charlie McCarthy.
Oh, yeah.
I adore the ventriloquist artistry of the figure making of the first couple of Charlies with this perfect Charlie McCarthy's. I love them. Mortimer Snurd, Effie Clinker, and Bergen's comedy was amazing. For any of the younger folks out there, go back and listen to the old radio shows. The script writing was amazing. Jimmy, of course, you know, I owe everything to Jimmy in getting really hooked on this.
Most of us our age do.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then to an extent, I mean, you know, I learned a lot watching Sherry Lewis about performing, and you know, we were just talking. We had dinner before, and who we met and who we didn't. I never met Winchell. I never met Bergen. I didn't meet Sherry Lewis, and her showmanship was just always incredible. You know, she was very elegant in what she did, and very purposeful. You know? So I think, I mean, you know, those classic three are pretty much up there. But you know, Jim Henson had a tremendous influence on me as well with what he did with the Muppets. And just with puppetry, artistry, and things like that, and you know, but yeah, and then just there's a cavalcade of you know, of so many ventriloquists over the years that I've seen that are just, and it's about the classic people. Modern day, I mean, you know, every one of the ventriloquists out there today inspired me. Yeah. It is so exciting to see what's going on in this art right now. You're doing these fabulous cards. And you're working on the figure maker ones right now. Right. And there's been stuff on the internet. You got a great conversation going around that, right? Yeah. We are in a golden age of puppetry, puppet building. Hard figures, dummies, and soft figures. We are just in an amazing kind of the cornucopia of choices, you know. I mean, you know, Austin Phillips and Tyler Ellis are just very dear friends of mine. I talk to both of them almost every day. Chance Wolfe has brought some real excitement to the art, especially with the way he approaches the delivery of the figures and all that. Really neat. Dan Payne's puppets are showing up everywhere. I mean, you know, Mike Brose's figures have added so much. You know, I mean, I'm going to leave people out, and we're going to be like Conrad Hartz. I mean, amazing. You know, what Conrad has done over the years, what he continues to do. My visit with him was just like being in a candy shop. I mean, the guy's so talented and so nice, and it's just yeah, I can't even go on about all these puppet makers. But then you got like Landon Harvey. This young man from Texas. Yeah. By the way, Texas breeds ventriloquists.
It does, for some reason. Isn't that weird?
Must be something in the air, or the snake bites or something. He's so talented. Langston Hatch right here in Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah.
You know, the jet puppets are amazing. And then, of course, my dear sweet Mary Ann Taylor, who she and I go way back to the Verna days, and she's just an amazing. And now her daughter is coming right along with her. So, and again, I'm leaving people out, not to slight anybody. It's just an amazing time. There are so many great choices out there.
It's hard not to leave somebody out. There's just so many.
No, it really is. It's hard not to leave somebody out. You're right. Yep.
Right. So, yeah. Now, you have how many figures right now?
Well, so the ones that I would use in my show, I've got my CMOC, which you and I were looking at your CMOC, which is they're cousins.
Yeah, they really are.
Stretch the imagination, they're cousins. I have my Verna old woman figure that I've been using for years. I loved Verna. She said yours was one of a kind. Dave Pendleton and I laugh because they're so close. His and mine. I have my monkey that's been reconstructed a couple times, but Mary Ann Taylor has made the latest one. Those are my 3 mainstay characters in my show.
Okay.
I also use a Corey Coleman mask.
Right.
I've got 3 of his masks, and depending on what kind of an audience that I use. But then, as far as over the years, I've had figures, I've had marshals, I've had I've had stuff, and I parted ways with that.
Right.
As we've downsized in life a little bit. So
Sure.
I'm not a collector as much as I used to be. But then I have a bunch of other soft figures that, Wanlu, not Wanlu, Wanlu.
Wanlu,
yeah, of the Philippines.
Sure.
Sean Petrello, I love Sean. You know why I love Sean? He can't hold on to a puppet.
Not for more than 6 months, I don't
so
think.
I bought him, and I've got a beautiful pig puppet that I'm in love with. We call my daughter named him Hamilton, for obvious reasons.
Right.
Hamilton, and then we've got a cow. I just bought them because my wife was a farmer's market manager.
Okay.
But I love this little pig. So what I'm doing more and more, and you know how hard this would be. Floyd stays home more because he's harder to transport. But I just got to grab something quick. And then I got this. I had met Bob Rumbaugh in my travels.
Yes.
And we were at a Wendy's of all places, where he's a celebrity at this Wendy's. But he had this little dog puppet, and I loved it because I could put it in my briefcase. So he just I haven't even really got a character for him yet.
Right.
Yeah, not really. No, not at all. No, I'm not. Or is he up there?
I don't know, like that. Yeah, could be like that too.
Yeah. So we're developing him.
Yep.
That's right.
Who's this guy?
That's Daniel Robinson. He's famous.
He is?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice. I like your hairdo.
Well, you know what? I work hard at it.
Yeah. Not even gonna try.
I know, yeah. So anyway, but to me too, with ventriloquism, right? Like I have to hold this guy. The whole floating.
Oh no,
thing,
never been a fan of the floating.
You gotta hold him. You gotta treat him like a character. And I've just learned over the years watching all kinds of people. Just to pick up the nuances of how does he move, what's in it.
Right.
It's just such a fun art that way. It's puppetry, it's theater, it's voice, it's everything, right? All right, can I put you back over there?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Good. So yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Now you're an icon at the convention, whether you want to admit it or not.
No.
but here's the
Because
thing.
I'm getting older, is that what it is?
You know what? I think that's what it is.
I'm going to get my coffee now. I'm going to sip and pretend I didn't hear that.
But tell me about your first convention.
So, my first convention was a late in life bloom. 1975, I think, was the first ventriloquist convention. I was in middle school. We had 6 kids at that point in the family, and my mom and dad. My dad was the sole breadwinner, and going to, our vacation was a week at the Jersey Shore, and that was it, So going to Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, my dad was in New York or Kentucky. Are you kidding me, kid? So I never went. And then, life went on, and my wife and I married fairly young. We had kids fairly young, my first 2 daughters. It just was never in the cards, But then living in the New York City area, I got to know Senior Wences pretty well, and threw a 90th birthday party for him. I then got friendly with Verna Findley and brought Verna up to New Jersey for a workshop, which was kind of incredible. In one room, Mary Ann Taylor, Jeff Dunham, Taylor Mason,
Nice.
Tom Basso, and some other people who's Judy Bush was there. That's right, Judy was there, and some other folks. We spent an entire weekend in a hotel in New Jersey learning how to make Verna figures. And so I did those 2 events, and when I did those, I guess I just kind of had a knack for putting stuff together. And then my dad called one day, and he said, your mom and I want to give you a gift. And I said, I'm thinking, new lawnmower? What could it be? He said, we want you to go to that ventriloquist. My father could never say ventriloquist. I want you to go to that ventriloquist convention in Cincinnati. And I said, wow. And I cried, and I was so touched. And I went for the first time as an adult, and I walked in that dealer room, and man, that was like, wow. I've been hearing about the convention, though, very artfully told in stories by Lee Pittsburgh, who lived just in the next town over from me. And Lee was very gracious. He always filled me in when he got back. We talked on the phone, or I'd go over and take my bike and go over and visit. So yeah, so it was a dream come true. And then that first convention, I met John Brooking, and John asked me to be the chairman of the next convention.
Wow.
I wasn't a board advisor member, but he entrusted me because of my 2 successful events that I could put it together.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I used to love chairing the convention.
Yeah.
Mark Wade won't give it back. Mark does an amazing job.
He does.
Thank God for Mark Wade.
Yes.
I mean,
he does a
year
fantastic
after year,
job.
he and Jody just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. What do you like most about the convention?
Oh, it's the friendships. It's the camaraderie. It's to me now. It's also the new talent. It's also seeing it. We're going to have a young man here this year who's coming over. I don't know that it's been announced yet or if the schedule's even out, but I'm just going to break the news here. I've been watching this young man for the past several years on Facebook work on stuff. He is from England.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a name we're all going to know. His name is Max Fulham. Max is coming this year. He's one of the young talent that I think, I mean, he's not, and not a knock, because I love Darcy Lynn and what she's doing. But we're going to learn about him before the fame hits him.
Right.
And we did with Darcy Lynn too, but I mean, Max I think is going to be something pretty amazing. Austin and Tyler, are 2 guys that I'm so honored to get to know at this stage in their careers. I can't imagine, if I'm around on this earth for another 30 years, to see those guys in 30 years what they're doing is going to be just incredible. This is this young talent, Landon, Langston. I mean, all the people you see there that are young people that are doing stuff.
Right.
So exciting.
It really is.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know who you want to credit for it. Certainly Jeff gets a ton of credit. He's brought this art to a stratosphere that when he and I used to sit around my kitchen table eating Fudge-Ripple ice cream talking about the future, never thought it would be like this.
No. And I think that YouTube actually has helped quite a bit, and Jeff's Ahmed video going viral,
Well, Mr. Dunham, I always say this and he chuckles, but he invented email marketing before it had a name.
Right.
Yeah, he used to put out postcards on the table.
Oh yeah, I remember.
He would collect the Prodigy, AOL, email addresses, and when he showed up in a town in a comedy club, he brought an audience with him.
Yep, and I remember in his book he used to talk about putting all that information in his Radio Shack Model 100.
Yeah, he's a geek in the way back. Yeah. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So if you were to give advice to anybody just starting out in ventriloquism, what would it be?
It would be to go to college, get a good job. My advice in ventriloquism, it's so funny, there's someone who I just had this conversation with the other day. The technique of ventriloquism, learn that, get it out of the way, and then understand the art of performing. It is theater. It is character development. There's a fabulous one-sheeter that I got it from Jeff, but I don't know if Jeff is the originator of it or maybe a bunch of people. It was even printed in dot matrix. The copy I have comes off a dot matrix copy.
Dot matrix is a printer that they used about 15 years ago.
Can you add subtitles?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll even put a dot matrix printer
Let me tell you about 8-track tape, kid. I had a car with a suitcase in the back that contained my 8-track tapes. Anyway, so this character development thing is it's like 50 questions of what's the character's background, what's their favorite vegetable, what book did they like.
I think they have a similar one in Tom Krause's.
Tom stole it. He
stole it.
Awful. Yep. You steal the tires off your car if you leave the park there.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So you would say just learn the technique and then study theater because that's what it's really what it's all
about.
Learn
how to perform and connect to your audience and some ventriloquists can do what others can't. I mean, I'm like Script Schmidt, When I get in front of an audience and I start talking to the people, I'll do 30 minutes just talking to the audience.
Sure.
Because of all the years I've been at it
right.
and ad-libbing. And to me, that's like the theater of it all too, is that you get enough to include the character's personality and take risks. And that's the other thing, take risks. Take risks. Who would have ever thought that the character that would catapult our art would be a dead skeleton? Right?
Right.
I mean, take risks.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Push the envelope. That's the deal.
Yeah. And then I guess the last question I wanted to ask you is a person that's coming to the convention for the first time? What advice would you give them?
That's a great question, because I seek those people out. I don't do a great job, but I seek those people out.
They're called the red.
Yeah, the red dot people,
yeah.
and but I would say to anybody that's coming to the convention, even if you're shy, even if you've got a personality that's not necessarily just walk up to people and introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us where you're from. Tell us it's your first time. Start a conversation, and as you know, the people that come to the convention, you start a conversation, they're going to keep it going.
That's right.
Ask questions. The dealer's room. If you're a first-time convention attendee, that's the place to hang and start conversations.
Yes.
It really it is, and there's nobody at the convention that's not going to engage you and talk to you.
Right.
Some of the people that are involved in running the convention don't have as much time, so don't get your feelings hurt when you go to a Ken Groves and you love his stuff, but he doesn't have a lot of time to talk to you about it.
Sure.
Because the man's running in 5 different directions.
Yep. Yep.
But for the rest of the folks that are there, people will spend lots of gentle time with you. And then get to the hospitality suite at night. You know? While people are enjoying libations, you don't have to just be there and converse.
Sure.
That's the fun of it. To me, it's kind of like summer camp. If you go to bed before the sun's coming up, I mean, you're probably missing out on an opportunity.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, my biggest thing that I kick myself for is not going to the hospitality suite, because I really do feel I learn a lot sitting down with people and just picking their brains.
Oh my gosh.
And the people that are there, you've got professionals and people just starting out, and you can learn something from everybody.
You just reminded me of one thing. Well, maybe you want to close on this, but
Sure.
we had a convention in the old place one year, and we got kicked out of our hospitality suite. They unfortunately put it in a place that they booked other people in the rooms that weren't ventriloquists around.
Right.
And there were lots of complaints. So they said to us, well, we have an empty room downstairs in the hotel. They gave us one of the banquet rooms, just move your stuff down there and go there. So anyway, we started doing improv with 2 metal, they weren't even real metal, the 2 silver-plated plastic dishes that, kind of were curved almost like shells, right?
Sure.
And we improv on those, and that probably went on for an hour and a half. And we laughed so hard, but it was theater training,
Sure.
right? There was a gentleman, a Frenchman there, I forget his name, he's the voice of French soccer right now, actually. His name's slipping my head, but anyway, I remember just how creative he was, but Ian Varilla, people like that who just still come every year.
Yeah.
God, we had a great time.
Yeah.
And it was all theater training. It was amazing. So go enjoy, meet people, get involved. If you see crazy opportunities like that, take them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, I want to appreciate you letting me come here and talk to you first of all.
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me come to Akron as well. I know you run this town.
Yeah.
And
sharing all of your information.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
My pleasure.
So, all right. Thanks.
Good deal. Now we're going to turn the camera on?
We are. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Cybervent.